Adam Lerner, BrooklynPhotoworks.com, and today I want to share with you guys some photos that I just finished taking with the Cactus V6II, this little guy, and the Cactus RF60 Flashes. Now, you guys know I've had the RF60 Flashes, but I just got my hands on the V6IIs, and these things are absolutely incredible. And one of the things that these guys allow you to do is HSS, high-speed sync. And you know how much I love to crush ambient light. Just take that ambient light and just crush it like a bug. And these things really allow you to do it because that allows you to shoot past your camera's sync speed or your inherent camera's sync speed. So for example, as I'm going past 1/200th of a second on my Canon 5D Mark III, I can go to 1/320th, 1/400th, 1/1000th, all the way up to 1/8000th of a second and still be able to pop my flashes. So this is an image that I got. I shot of my BMW, and this was probably, well, let's actually figure it out. Okay, this was at 6:17 p.m. Yeah, sunsets, right about close to 6:30 or 6:45. So there was definitely a little bit more light in the sky and the scene was a little bit brighter. But what I was able to do is I was able to take an ambient exposure, crush that ambient light so that I had a really beautiful sky to get all this fantastic detail in there. And then I used my Cactus RF60s, okay? I triggered these things with the V6II with high speed sync, and it could not have been easier. And that was the resulting image. And I basically had two of these RF60s on camera stands, off camera, and in addition to shooting them, I think I was actually pushing about 1/4 power, which is a lot because when you're doing high speed sync, your power is reduced. But I also had them zoomed to 105 millimeters. Okay, and what that does is by zooming the head, you're changing the spread or the angle of the flash when it pops, and I'm tightening that angle so it really is more focused on the bike and less wider. It's a little bit of a harder light. So here, let me show you guys what my setup looks like real quick. This was the setup, okay? So this was after I got my ambient exposure. So as you can see, I've got an RF60 here, an RF60 here. This was actually my iPhone on a little tripod that I used to do a time lapse of the whole thing. And you can see the sun was still setting, okay? And, look, I could show you a before and after. Actually, let me get back into that shot. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a before and after. And check this out, okay? So this was the before. And you can see, like, just, on its own, it's a little bit, flat, but whatever. And then I stepped it up in post. Boom, look at that. Look at that sky. I'm telling you, that sky is popping. It's banging. All right. So the image that I really liked was this one. This one's really, really nice. And I'll just show you guys really quickly. I was at 1/1000th of a second shooting at f2.8, but I was all the way down at the native ISO of 100. So that means I was shooting with my aperture on this 24-70 wide open, which is awesome. But I was also able to shoot at 1/1000th of a second. Now, if I did not have high-speed sync, I would have had to close my aperture down to get a similar exposure, and that would have changed my depth of field, and I also would not have been able to, well, I probably would have been able to get the sky like that, but it wouldn't have had this look of real separation and isolation. And here we go. Here's a couple other images, and I want you guys to see the difference here. Okay, look at this image here. It looks good. I love this angle. I like that I moved things around to the other side. I love this telephone pole. I think it looks really, really cool. The color of the sky has that kind of really nice look to it. The light is really, really isolated on the bike. And then we go into this one, and this one's a little bit brighter, and you can actually see some of the orange, some of the ambient light kind of trickling in on it. And I kind of prefer this one. So let's just look at that really quickly. So this one was shot at 1/1600th of a second. I was at ISO 125. And I was still at 128, and then I went to this one and I lowered it down from a 1600th of a second down to 1/1000th of a second, and I was able to get some of that nice golden light in there. And let me just give you one more example right here, guys. Okay. So this image right here, this image was actually shot just ambient light, okay? So let's look at this. This was at 1/1600th of a second, f2.8 at ISO 100. So this was 1/1600th of a second, and that's how I was able to get my ambient exposure, to get my light to look like that. I wanted to have my background, my sky, to be really, really nice. And look, you can see there's still a little bit of that golden light just trickling in through some of the edges over here, okay? Then when I turned on my flashes, which I all did remotely from the V6II as well as remotely zoomed, this was the image that I ended up with. And check that out, guys. Look, it's the same exposure. All I did was just add some flash to it, and look at the difference in that image there. Okay, yeah, the angle's a little bit different. Sorry about that. This is a little bit of a lower angle. I don't have an exact comparison shot. Okay, so we got some grass in the foreground, but look what was going on there. You can see these grasses are being lit up here by the sun, because the sun was right here and it was glancing some beautiful golden light on the grasses. And had I just shot it without the flash, the bike would have been predominantly in silhouette. Then all I do is I added some flash, or two flashes, I should say, off camera, high speed, and that's what we got. How incredibly cool is that? So there you go. If you like flash as much as I do, make sure you check out the Froknowsphoto guide to flash photography that Jared and I did a few years ago. That is awesome. Not only do we give you guys all of the basic and fundamentals on flash photography, we take you guys on live photo shoots and show you exactly what we do to get the images that we did, so that we can help you to get the tools and the confidence in your flash photography as well. That's it for now. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and we'll see you soon.